it is metabolic, but it's not anything to do with breathing, right? And obviously, if your kidney fails, yeah, that's what's dealing with your metabolic system. Okay. This brings up a couple of points. This particular PowerPoint, one is the very first thing you see on there, PaCO2. It is not Paco. It is the same thing I've been writing. I wrote CO2. Technically, should have been saying PaCO2 or PCO2. This means a partial pressure because CO2 is a gas. Okay, so you're measuring the pressure of the gas. You're not measuring, it's a gas. That's what you're measuring. Okay, so don't be surprised if you see PCO2 or PaCO2 instead of just CO2 like I wrote it. It's just being technically correct. Okay. The other thing I want to point out on here is that these signs and symptoms. We have to be talking about respiratory acidosis, but honestly, we can be talking about anything that has an acid-base problem. Most of these are the exact same things. Somebody comes in with an acid-base problem, they are acutely ill. They're probably confused, they got headaches, they might be dizzy or blurred vision, or they could go in a coma and die on you, right? Convulsions, epilepsy, all of the above for pretty much any acid-base problem. Okay? That's why I don't know that I would memorize these signs and symptoms, because honestly, when somebody comes in, you're going to realize that they're messed up. There are a few things, obviously, that you can look at and get an idea, okay? But they're more the exception. The rest of it, all of these acid-base problems kind of look the same in a person, okay? And we'll get to the exceptions a little bit later. Okay? Like I said, you can look at these, a lot of signs and symptoms. Again, I wouldn't suggest memorizing them. What I would suggest is that you at least understand why they're there. Okay, that'll get you a lot further. Because if you understand why these are signs and symptoms, then that, you don't have to memorize them. You can make them up if you have to. Okay? Alrighty, we'll get a little bit more into the why hyperchloremic later. But metabolic acidosis, same thing. Okay? Again, if you look at those signs and symptoms, you got some issues, you could die from it. Okay? Really. All we're trying to get at here. Small breathing, small breathing, small. When I say small, apparently that's how you spell it though. That's hyperventilation. I mean, if you look at that, that's really what it is. Small breathing is hyperventilation. So why don't we say somebody's hyperventilating? You could. Usually, at least in my experience, when people say somebody's having small breathing, they're either trying to impress somebody or they are hyperventilating because their brainstem took over and they're not really doing it on purpose. Okay? That's usually when I hear people say, this person has small breathing. Their brainstem is just taking over the breathing because they need to. There's nothing. There's obviously some kind of problem. Okay. Questions on any of that? As you see, the PowerPoints are literally walking you through the exact same thing I said earlier. I don't know that these. Okay, they spell it K-U-S-S. On this slide. Yes.